Okay, we're getting set up for the live, and we're redirecting to that live page just right now. I think we are live now. Okay, so just so you know, we're live, and I'll let you know. You can either go to the page there, Annie, or you can wait for me to read out those comments for you. All right, so welcome once again. It's good to be back to the live for the Wall Street English page and to be talking tonight about listening. And so we're going to talk about some things that make a good listener and maybe even some ways to use listening to improve your English. So we have Annie with us today. Annie's one of our teachers. And so Annie, where are you coming from today?
I am, as always, here in beautiful Sousse, Tunisia, where I live, and I teach online for Wall Street English.
All right, great. So tell me, a lot of classes today, or what were you up to?
I did teach today, as always, a bunch of encounters today. So we were testing our students on their varied levels. And as always, I'm from home in my home office here. Online and seeing students over the camera like this. This is my normal way of doing things, looking into the camera.
Yeah. This is where I'm at as well. I'm in the capital, but teaching from home today, a lot of encounters. Yeah. And tomorrow I go into the Lock Center. So it's always something different. Yesterday I was in Menzah. Today I'm from home, and then tomorrow in Lock, but very, very good. So glad you're having a good evening over there.
Same to you.
Yeah. And as far as listening, so a lot of times my students ask me, what do I listen to improve my English, or how can I listen better? Do you have any resources or any advice for students who want to listen to something?
Well, I always recommend things that keep your interest. So things that you are interested in. For example, for a lot of people, music is a very interesting thing to listen to. And this can teach you dialects. This can teach you some different slang words. And it can teach you to hear words very quickly, as we tend to speak in English. And I also often recommend YouTube. YouTube has a lot of videos that are little short pieces, and it can be something you're very interested in. You can watch it with the subtitles sometimes, and this can help you build your vocabulary and practice your listening skills at the same time.
That's excellent. I really like that. And even with YouTube, you can change the speed on the videos to 0.75 so that you can listen a little bit slower if you're a beginner in English, or if you're more advanced, you can even turn off those subtitles and go for a challenge and try and understand more. But I recommend those TED Talks as well for higher level students. Those are fantastic. There's a lot of radio broadcasts and things, that maybe some BBC stuff, some NPR stuff for us Americans, right? So if you search NPR or BBC, you can see radio broadcasts that are on YouTube and slow them down if you need. How about those of us in the comments? There's several people watching now, so tell us hello in the comments and tell us, what do you listen to? Do you listen to music? Do you listen to books? Do you listen to the news? How are you listening in English? So we'll wait for those comments there below as we start here. Let's see. I see Hayat says hello, so welcome. And yeah, BBC and CNN, great sources for English learning. And all right, so you're teaching. Very good, very good.
I like the news for English learning as well, because this is putting together understanding with listening, because we can use the visual cues and the cues within the context to help us with our listening skills in the case of the news.
That's great. That's great. Good. So moving on to a slightly different topic would be how to be a good listener. So sometimes people say, I'm not a good listener, or I want to be a better listener. And we use this mostly when we're talking about social situations, talking about friendships. What do you think makes a good listener, Annie?
I think that good listeners are not just listening to respond, they're listening to understand. And a good listener is also giving feedback. They're not just listening, but they're asking questions critically. We're using our critical thinking skills, we say. We're asking questions that show we understand and that we're adding something to the conversation.
Yeah, that's really good. So I was reading this article that says a lot of those things that you just mentioned. It was by the Harvard Business Review by Jack Zenger and Joseph Folkman, called "What Great Listeners Actually Do." And so, yes, as you said, they're helping you speak. They're cooperating with you. They're not just listening then to find something else to talk about. They want to understand you. So these things can help us be good listeners.
What do you think makes a good listener, Casey?
Yeah, that's a good question. Caring about someone makes you a good listener, I think. Being curious as well. If you not just curious about information, but you want to understand this person, so you care, you're curious, and yeah, you don't have something you need to say, but you have no agenda. So you're there to be there for your friend. I'm no expert, right? But I've been listening for a long time.
I think that's a great way to listen. And I think that people feel supported and heard when you listen to them with that sort of emotion.
Yeah, that's good. And so I would say, if we were to put those into categories with the article, one would be to create a safe environment. Mm-hmm. One would be to clear away distractions.
No cell phones.
Mm-hmm.
Your cell phone away.
Mm-hmm. And then to clarify things with questions and with other things. So again, to create a safe environment, to clear away distractions, and to clarify with questions. Those are three things. They all start with the letter C, and they can help you be a better listener. So
do you mean that we should ask questions to show that we understand what the other person is saying?
Mm-hmm. Yes, to clarify. There's a very meta clarification there. That's good. All right, let's look at some more comments. Are you able to read the comments as well, Annie? Do you have
I'm able to read the comments.
All right, why don't you go for it?
Looks like we have some people with us here. We have Kothum with us. We have Hayed still. And we have Anis who says taking notes can help. This is a great way to help you when you're trying to get your listening skills in place. If you can have paper and pen with you and take some notes as you're listening and get those important points, that can be a really great way to help your listening skills.
Yes, and I would say there's two kinds of listening. There would be active and passive listening. Mm-hmm. And so as someone who studies languages, I can be cooking dinner and listening to the radio in Spanish. Or I can be cleaning my room and listening to the radio in Spanish. And this is passive listening. I'm not trying super hard to understand, but I'm wanting to put the language in front of me. And so this will help you do things like understand when one word stops and another word starts when people speak very fast. But there's also active listening, which is when, as Annie said, I've got a paper and pen, or maybe as Anis said there, I like to have my laptop open to Google Translate. And so I will be listening, and then I find a word I've never heard before, and I type it in, I get the meaning, and then I put it in a list of new words. And so I'm using this listening opportunity actively. I'm taking things from it. And that's just one way to actively listen to an English, to someone speaking English.
I think that's a really good tip to also increase your vocabulary. That's really good. I like that one.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, always being ready to learn. And it's not universally true, but in general, the best students are going to have a notebook with them, or they have something on their phone where they're writing all those things, and they're always learning. They're always hungry for more words. Yes, Akram says good questioning is a part of good listening. That's part of our C, our clarifying. And then Hedy, listening is one of the important tools to improve language skills. Absolutely. Yes. Absolutely it is.
And I think that listening can also help our pronunciation. If we are listening to the way that things are said, we can use it to mimic or repeat. So if we're having trouble pronouncing a certain thing, we can listen to it, pause, and repeat it ourselves. And we can do that a couple of times to help pronounce words that are difficult for us. It gets it in both our ear and our mouth at the same time. This is a way that listening can help us with the pronunciation piece.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. And many things like Google, Webster's Dictionary will include ways, like if you want to isolate one word and hear it pronounced again and again, that's a good way to do it. Go to a dictionary and you can see it. You can see it written out, and then you can also see it pronounced as well. What other stuff do you listen to? Go ahead and put it in the comments. I have lots of comments, but tell us, what are you listening to? Annie, maybe this is an interesting question. Maybe I have an English student who wants to listen to some music, but they say all the music I listen to, the words are hard to understand and the singer's voice is strange. Do you have like a favorite singer that's just clear and easy to understand for English students?
You know who I really love is Freddie Mercury from Queen. And I think that because of his way of enunciating words and his strong way of pronouncing things, sometimes he pronounced things in a bit of a British English way, and I'm American, I pronounce it American English, but I think that we can still use some of his ways of pronunciation and his long ways of saying things to help us understand and to use our listening skills and our pronunciation skills. And I think that we can also always look up lyrics for a song if we're really struggling with it. And again, listen and read at the same time. And I think this can really help us get those words that we're missing, especially when they're all running together.
That's good. That's good.
What about you? Do you have a singer that you think is really good for enunciation or pronunciation?
Yeah, I mean, there's a few that I like. Maybe one of my favorites would be classic James Taylor. I'm a huge James Taylor fan. I like his kind of, because he's so clear and because there's not a lot of noisy instruments in the background, I find him very calm and easy to understand and very clear, especially his acoustic stuff is just great. So I like that for a new student. Yeah, and some of the older country before, and not today's country music, but the older country like Johnny Cash and those things. Some of them are good for English learning, I think. But again, that's the Colorado in me speaking. So there you go.
Well, the Colorado in me understands the Colorado in you, my friend. I definitely can feel you in those old country singers. That music goes a little bit slower. And I think that gives a little bit to ease understanding. It's not quite jumbling together so much.
Yeah, okay. And Anis, they're saying he's listening to Labyrinth. Okay, there you go.
Very
And
good.
and yes, you're very welcome there, Sana. Listening is just it's one of the 4 skills, right? You've got to listen, you've got to speak, you've got to read, you've got to write. Those are the 4 building blocks of being able to master a language. So yes, that's great.
What about ways of listening for specific things? Do you think that this is an important way to work on our listening skills? For example, listening for a specific word or phrase or content. Do you think this can help us with our listening skills?
Yes, especially when we're just learning certain things. If we're beginners and we say, okay, I can listen to English, but I don't understand it all. Well, maybe you go into a video or something, and you want to just hear the basic idea, and your goal is just to get the basic idea. And so you listen one time and you try and get that. Or if you're an advanced student, you might watch an American movie and you might try and catch some American phrases. You know, you might say, oh, I know they say, I know there's some idioms, there's some phrases that won't make sense, but I want to learn them. And so I'll watch the movie and get that from that. What about you? What do you think there?
I think that for advanced learners, when you're thinking about something like idioms, using the context of a movie is a great way to understand those. And I agree that especially for beginner learners, if you can pick a word or a subject set of words, perhaps you're listening for the weather, for a traffic report, you're watching the news, you're listening for a certain political event or something happening. Key into those words. And this kind of thing helps you understand the context. You don't have to listen to understand everything. You can listen to start to just understand pieces, understand where words begin and end, and just try to catch those specific words that you're looking for. This is a powerful tool for beginners, I think.
Okay, I like that. I like that. Very, very good. Active listening.
Looks like Wafa's in our comments here saying that she used karaoke last week as an example. I think that is a great example because you're practicing with music. You're listening, you're speaking, you're singing. Singing can take some of the stress out of speaking. That's a great way to practice.
Yeah, that's really good. That's really good. All right, so let's jump into our quiz time. And so if you've been following our lives for a while, you know that we're going to ask a question in this live, and the person who answers correctly wins a 2-week free subscription to Wall Street English. So if you want to check us out and see what we're all about, this subscription is just a great way to start off that journey. And so maybe we'll start. We talked about good listening. And I said 3 things that start with the letter C, 3 things good listeners do. All right, so I'll give you the first one, and I want you to give me the other 2. The first one is that the listener creates a safe environment. If you can tell me the other 2 things the listener does that start with C, you will be tonight's winner. So while we're waiting for our commenters there, we'll wait for them in the comments. Let's see here. You see, do you know any good quotes or sayings about listening or hearing, anything like that, Annie?
I don't know if I can think of any off the top of my head about listening or hearing. But I will say that I think that it is a really good skill to have in many different areas. So listening is a skill we not only use in our personal lives to make our friends and family feel heard and listened to, it's a skill that we use in our professional lives to get things done and get them done correctly. And it's a skill that we use in our everyday lives when we're out in the world. So this is a skill that if we're going to use it in another language, it's definitely one that we want to beef up and strengthen for sure. Can you think of any quotes that you know?
I have some in front of me. I'm not going to tell you I thought them up myself, but I think they're good. One of them says, be a good listener. Your ears will never get you in trouble. Okay, that's by Frank Tiger. So I like that one. Your ears will never get you in trouble. Normally it's your mouth, right? So your ears never get you in trouble. Okay, so Ulfa, comment correctly and choose the right words. Those are not the two that we mentioned. So one involved distractions like our phones. Okay, one of them involved helping us understand. Those are two words that start with the letter C. Again, but while we're waiting for your answer, another one here, the word listen contains the same letters as the word silent. Okay, so you have to be silent at the beginning to listen. So you have to be quiet, is what they're saying there. And then
I remember. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Okay, and then another one from Peter Drucker. The most important thing in communication is hearing what isn't said. That's an interesting one. Hearing what isn't said.
So what do you think he means by that, Casey?
Yeah, I think it means not just listening to the words, but the whole person, trying to see where they're, what they're really trying to communicate, because we don't always say everything we're thinking. In fact, we rarely ever do that. But yeah, it's an important skill to be able to pull that out of someone's mind.
We can use their body language to tell us. We can use their facial expressions to tell us. And we can use, for example, their tone, the way that they're speaking, the volume, and the words that they're emphasizing. These things can all give us a clue as to what they're really trying to say.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes, and those all take skills, social skills. And so I'm not seeing any comments. Maybe my questions were too hard. Okay, the listener creates a safe environment, clears away distractions, and there's one more word that starts with C. It means to make things more clear with questions. Can anyone give me that last word? And you can be our 2-week winner for that brave person who's been listening so well. Anyone want to give it a shot? The word starts with the letter C, means to make things more clear. All right, Wafed, there you go. Clarify. Well done. Congratulations to Wafed. Of course, we will get in touch with you about that scholarship. And I believe you are a student with us. Isn't that correct? I believe so. You can comment there if that's the case. But good to have you here with us, and all of you who joined and commented as a part of tonight's live on listening. So there's Hedy with the right answer as well right after to clarify. Okay, good. Any closing comments or thoughts about listening tonight, Annie?
One of the things that I read in an article was that listening is a bit like using a trampoline. You're bouncing some of it off of you. It's not just about absorbing and taking it all in. If you're in conversation, you are going to give some back as well. And you're going to give some good feedback after you listen. So I think that's part of understanding listening and being a good listener for sure.
That's good. That's good. How to be a better trampoline. Yes. It's gonna affect you. You're in the conversation, of course. Okay, Wafel, we'll let you answer when you're ready there and safe. Great. Well, thanks for joining from Seuss there, Annie. I know that we both have classes to get to right now, so I'll let you sign off, and thank you all for joining. We'll see you next time for another live. Thanks again.
Bye. Thanks a lot.
All right. We will see you next time.